Cheaters and their lies. Can't go on forever. This Redditor shared his short, but frozen cold, story of ghosting, proving there's no need for drama, violence, nor showing pity. Be aware, cheaters, this story will unsettle you.
"7 months ago, I discovered my wife was having an affair with a middle-aged man. I moved out, cut contact, and filed for divorce. Just like that. 8 years of my life had been wasted and washed down the drain. At the time, my ex was 31, I was 33, and her drill partner, as I call him, was almost 50. I discovered the affair by accident, a result of being in the right place at the right time. I was returning from a business trip a day early, and instead of calling my wife, I decided to drive home and surprise her. As I was driving, I noticed my tank was almost empty, so I decided to stop at the next exit to get gas. For reference, this exit was approximately 12 miles from my house. I filled the tank and then started heading back down the road to get on the highway. Each intersection along the way had either traffic light or a stop sign, so it took forever to get there. I arrived at one such four-way stop and had several cars in front of me. As I sat there waiting my turn, I saw my wife's car emerge from a side street and then drive through the intersection in the direction I was going. I thought to myself, what in the actual fuck is she doing over here? I had just spoken to her a couple hours earlier, and she didn't mention anything about it. I called her cell, and she let it ring 4 times before answering. When she did, she sounded out of breath and disheveled. She asked me what I was doing and said she was just about to call me. I told her our meetings finished up early and I was on my way home. She sounded happy to hear this and asked when I'd be getting there, giving the impression she was home. I told her I should be there within 15 minutes. I then directly asked where she was going, as I could tell she was driving from the background noise. She hesitated a moment and then said she was just going to the store. I asked which one, and she said the one that's closest to our house. She was obviously lying, as she was now on the highway just a few hundred yards in front of me. I knew at that very moment she was either cheating on me or doing something illegal. If not, why would she lie? I was going to call her out, but decided to play along to see what other lies I could catch her in. I told her I'd meet her at the store, and then we could go out to dinner somewhere. I could tell she wasn't expecting me to say that, but she responded saying, "That sounded great." I then told her I was just passing the rest area, which she had just passed. I told her this as I knew it would scare the bejesus out of her when she realized I was right behind her somewhere. She told me she'd wait for me in the parking lot, and we ended the call. No sooner than we did, she hit the gas and had to be going over 90 as she sped away. She obviously did this to avoid me seeing her and to ensure she'd arrive at the store before I did. When I got there, she was already parked and walked over to my car as I pulled in. She was adjusting her clothes and had her compact mirror out, checking her hair and makeup. When we got in the store, she said she had to go to the restroom. I told her I did too, so we both went in to do our business. I finished up and came out a few minutes later and waited there for her to come out. She stayed in there for at least another 10 to 15 minutes before coming out. When she finally emerged, I jokingly told her I was about ready to send in a search party to look for her. She told me,
Sorry, I had to do a number 2.
I know that seems to be unimportant, but I'm explaining this because it was another lie, as I could hear the sink running the entire time she was in there. I don't think she even used the toilet and instead spent the time cleaning herself up. We did our shopping and decided to grab some prepared food from the store instead of going out to dinner. When we got home and started eating, I asked her more questions about her day to see what she'd say. She told me nothing remarkable happened, explaining she just went to work and came straight home. With each new lie she told, I became more upset, but managed not to blow up on her. That night I tossed and turned, trying to process what she was doing over there. I was restless and wide awake while she slept soundly, like she didn't have a care in the world. I'm going to watch her like a hawk. In the meantime, I'm here, sharing this in anonymity. Wow, never thought I would be one of those men in a cheating subreddit. The following evening, while she was preparing dinner, I checked her cell phone, but found nothing unusual. I also went online and checked our cell and credit bills, but again, nothing. Initially, this gave me a sense of relief, but I realized that didn't necessarily mean she wasn't cheating. It just meant she was good at hiding it. At that point, I was getting antsy, but I needed more proof, so I decided to continue investigating. Looking back now, this was definitely the right thing to do. However, it was difficult holding it together and acting normally. A week or so went by and everything was business as usual. Then one day, she called and told me she'd be working a little late, as it was their monthly close. I didn't say anything, but was immediately suspicious. Even though she had to work over on occasion, I sensed something was up. I had a strong feeling she wouldn't be working, but instead I'd find her visiting a certain someone on that street, where I saw her the previous week. So that afternoon, I went over there to see if I could spot her. I arrived around 4:30 p.m. and drove up and down the street a couple times, but didn't see anything. I decided to go back out to the main intersection and park at the McDonald's to see if I could spot her driving by the main road. Sure enough, at about 4:45 p.m., she drove up to the intersection and turned down the same street. I gave it 10 minutes and went down the street to see where she was. There, I saw her car, parked in the driveway of one of the houses, beside a new Ram pickup truck. I thought long and hard about going up and banging on the door, but my inner self told me not to, as I was on the verge of exploding at that moment. Instead, I took pictures of her car at the house and then went home. When I got there, I looked up the address to get the name of the homeowner. As it turned out, the owner was co-owner of a company that did business with her company. According to various websites, he was either 49 or 50 years old and had lived at the address since 2009. I later discovered he was divorced with 2 college-age children. When she arrived home that evening, she brought bags of takeout from my favorite Chinese place in her hands. She greeted me with a big smile and came over for a kiss. I tried getting away with giving her an air kiss, but she insisted on a real one. While we were eating, I told her I had to go out to a customer location the following day and wouldn't be home until the evening. After hearing this, she started asking me for particulars like where I was going, when I was leaving, and when I'd be back. I knew she wanted this info so she could plan another meetup with her drill partner. And it really grinded my gears. After I told her the details, she told me not to stop and get anything to eat on my way home. She then slowly caressed my lower arm with her nails while saying,
"I'll make sure to have dinner waiting for you."
The thought of that nauseated me, but I knew that dinner wasn't going to happen, as I had other plans in store for her. I, of course, had no customer visits planned that day, but I did plan to make a visit to her drill partner's house that day. If I saw her car parked there again, I planned to call and confront her, then move out and not tell her where I was going. Unfortunately, or fortunately, things played out as I predicted, and I found her car parked in the same spot as had the previous day. So I went home, made a hotel reservation, packed my clothes, and then called her. To my surprise, she answered right away and was in an upbeat mood, like she was so happy to hear from me. I asked what she was doing, and she said she was just sitting in a conference room working on a spreadsheet. I told her she was lying. She didn't answer, though. I continued on explaining I knew exactly where she was, who she was with, and what she was doing. I said she was either fucking him right now or had just finished jumping him, just like she did yesterday, and just like she did the prior week. While I spoke, she didn't say anything. I told her I was done with her, and I wouldn't be home when she got there. After that, I called her a few harsh words and ended the call. A good 20 minutes passed before she started calling and texting me, like a crazy person. During the 24 hours that followed, she must have left me 50 voicemails and sent me over 100 text messages. The messages were all over the board, first saying it wasn't what it looked like, and she could explain. After several hours of these messages, including voice messages, she then transitioned to crying and telling me she was sorry, followed by hours and hours of hysterical crying and begging for my forgiveness. After I got checked into the hotel that evening, I stopped to have a few drinks at the bar to take the edge off. I didn't have much on my stomach, so the alcohol really hit me. I then went up to my room to call our parents to inform them about what just happened. I was feeling a little loose at that point, so I didn't hold anything back and told them everything. They reacted with complete horror and couldn't believe she'd do something like that. Like me, they thought we had the perfect marriage, but that obviously wasn't the case. I ended up staying in hotels for the next few months as I worked through the divorce process. I could never be a schmuck that's forced to stay with his cheating wife during that process. So during that time, I avoided all contact with my wife and didn't tell anyone, except for my parents, where I was, as I didn't want to risk someone telling her. Everyone, with the exception of her closest friends, were on my side. However, just about everyone told me I should at least meet with her to give her a chance to explain and apologize to me in person. From the messages she'd been leaving me and from the reports I was getting from mutual friends, I knew she wasn't handling things well. I never knew that side to her, being so unhinged. If I didn't know her, I would have thought she would be acting to get a reaction out of me. But no, this was downright awful. In her pleading, she was going places you can't recover from after saying it out loud. Her friends noticed, obviously, which made her friends put more pressure on me, and even her older sister joined in to gang up on me. They went as far as telling me if something happens to her over this, it would be my fault. Once they pulled that, I politely told them to mind their own business and blocked their numbers and got rid of their socials. Even her parents turned on me, which, honestly, came as a hard shock. I was really disappointed with them, as we always had such a close relationship before this. Thankfully, my family and close friends were on my side and supported me throughout the whole ordeal. Long story short, I stayed no contact and had my attorney handle everything. I could share this, but he told me to stay as vague as possible. Apologies for that. My wife tried fighting the divorce and offered me just about anything I wanted to stay married, but I was done. Once she realized that wasn't happening, she dragged it out a bit before eventually signing the paperwork. Things moved quickly after that, and our divorce became final last month. It was a clean break, and I'm now a free man. I don't want to give the false impression that I was a tough guy the entire time, because I wasn't. 8 years is a long time to spend with someone. I gave her my heart, everything. I spent many sleepless nights and had several breakdowns along the way, but I've worked past all that now. My ex-wife still thinks there's a chance we'll get back together one day. She says we're meant to be together, and fate will reunite us just like it brought us together in the first place. I can tell you with 100% certainty, that will never happen. She still texts me 3 to 4 times a week, telling me what she's up to and saying how much she misses me and how sorry she is. I probably should have blocked her, but I kind of enjoy seeing or hearing about her struggles, while hearing what a great man I am. As for her drill partner, I can't say too much there other than my attorney is working with his attorney on something. Right now, that's why I'm still vague on extra details. I'll just leave that there and let you fill in the blanks. My ex told me he meant nothing to her and she cut all contact with him. But I really don't care anymore. So that's what happened to me and how I handled it. Not saying what I did was good or bad or right or wrong. I shared this so other men know they are not alone in this struggle. Many of us have gone through the same and have come out better on the other side. Royal A.I.
You admit you're still reading her texts, but refuse to meet with her. Why do this, unless you're trying to destroy her mentally? What she did was wrong, but she's human, like we all are. I had a boyfriend in college who I was in love with and planned to marry. He broke up with me over a date I went on. Without telling him. He found out and never spoke to me again. I know what I did was wrong, but I had no intentions of ending our relationship. I've never gotten over it, mostly because of the way he handled things. He didn't give me the closure I needed. Listen, in a relationship, that's the least you can give your partner.
Don't listen to that cheating weirdo, OP. Always do what's best for you, and stop listening to others. If you already made up your mind that there was no turning back, then why waste time meeting with her? I went through a divorce years ago, and it was a total cluster bomb. If I could get a do-over, I'd handle things the way you did. Ghosting is the best. You just found a way to ghost her, while still savoring the leftovers. Leftovers in schadenfreude and tickling your ego. Do your thing, man. I wish I had your cojones.
You don't owe her a damn thing. Closure is for the cheater, while the betrayed gets nothing from it. I granted my cheating husband a final meeting. Looking back now, I wish I hadn't, as all it did was make him feel better and made me feel like a wet blanket. You did good. Thank you for sharing your story. Didn't need extra details. I could sense your pain. So I relived my pain too, because unfortunately, stories like yours just hit close to home.
What would you advise, OP? Let us know in the comments. You like the way these stories are brought to you? If so, I got you covered. More like this on my channel. Thank you for staying till the end. Let me know if you enjoyed this episode. See you in the next one.
You love the girl who loved the man who slipped away under the sun. Open your eyes and you'll understand who broke your back, the ginger man. We are only learning to die.